Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hope hope that hope that we all we all are here with the plan today. And the plan is to just relax and chill out. And the only reason I'm doing the Friday sessions is that so that we can force people to maybe not take a trade or commit a crime actually. Trading on Fridays, end of the week, especially it's the end of the month, is committing a crime. Because like you're committing a crime against your trading account, your rules, everything. Let's take a look here. Okay. Ooh, Eid Mubarak, everybody. People are coming in. I'm the only one making money on Friday. Yeah. Um, oh, okay. So we're coming back down here, 137. So it's from like technical perspective, just looking at things, like made a high at over here. So I think the best thing would be to do for price to kind of like form a support here and then maybe continue up to retest the high at 137,500. I won't be taking any trades today. I called out my month and it's over now. This is just for banter talk, and we're going to be having our guest here soon, by the way. Our guest is coming on soon here, I think in like half an hour or something like that. So we'll have to wait and see. Got to sit tight on your hands, man. Got to sit tight on your hands. It's a Friday. No one should be in a rush to trade, and gold is on its way to 1974. Man, damn, damn. Almost at 2000. Who would have thought gold is going to go? Well, we knew it's going to go to 1800, and then no one knew it's going to go to 1900 that quick, and no one knew it's going to go to 2000 that quick. You know, like we're almost there. This is the all-time high gold is making. Let's take a look on the monthly here. These are the all-time highs that gold is making. We are in a, what's this? Hello, Raja. I've executed a long on GJ in the last 30-minute bullish candle. Is it a bad setup? In this one? Oh, after this one closed. Yeah, it closed at resistance. I think it was yeah, it closed with no wick on the top. The 15-minute here as well. Do sells look realistic with that break of the low previous wick on GJ? No, you'd have to wait for price to break and close below this area. Very simple. Need for price to break and close below this area, and then sells will look kind of like realistic. But even if it comes down, you have some problems over here, and those problems are around what, like 15 pips away? So to me, it's not going to be a trade. The thing is, the thing is on Fridays, price may not move the way you expect it to move. So even analyzing it, even looking for potential trades can be hazardous, you know, because you may be used to the movements on like, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, easy moves, quick moves. Friday, man, sometimes price can do some weird stuff, and that can really throw you off. So you have to be very, very patient on Friday. I think most people, they're afraid of missing trades. Well, you should be okay to miss trades. Man, if someone says I missed trades but I watched them, I'm like perfect. Because I know when you're watching it, you can execute on them. Let's take a look at our first chart here from the Gulag. Oh, wow, man. What's going on over here? So all this information, this is okay, 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 all this information. All right, so we're over here. Gold. Move stops to break even. Oh. Gotta use the mouse wheel zoom. If it doesn't break this high, we can look for a sell in this range. We can sell all the way down to support created X, okay? Well, so far it's ranging, gold. So far it's ranging, and I don't think that's a good trade. Like, we're ranging. This is a range. This is why I zoom in the candles, like zooming in on the candles is really important. See this? It's ranging. Now, I'm going to say something that may trigger some people, but it's for the benefit of everybody. All this information you see, this information means nothing to where price is right now. This means nothing, this means nothing, this means nothing, this also means nothing. This means nothing because this is far, far away from where price is right now. So you should only be focused on in that area right there rather than wasting your time doing all this rocket science here. So this is what we know. And if price breaks the support, we may continue down 41 pips all the way down over here. Very simple. Extremely simple. Just look at the candles, zoom in on the chart, see where the candles are, and that's it. Ooh, gotta keep the mic open. When you scroll far back to the left to find a zone, you make a box and then pull it across all the way to the right. Instead, when you make the box, double click it. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know that. Someone's talking about London fix. I don't know what that is. If someone can come on the mic and explain to me what London fix is. London fix. Is it of the gold? I think it's with the gold, no? This is gold fix and there's a such thing as London fix. Can't find it. Hey, Kewal.
How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. London fix, I think, is something that so when London closes, there's a period of time where you have like literally just before London closes where there's like a flurry of activity, and that's called the London fix supposedly. So there was a lot of things about it, I think back in 2012, where like the London fix time only used to be 30 seconds. But then there was a lot of manipulation at that time. So I think the regulators got involved, and now the London fix period is the last 5 minutes.
Last 5 minutes of the market close.
Of London, yeah. So it would be just before 4 p.m. UK time.
Okay. So, like, what happens there? Like, they process orders or they balance their books?
So I think that fixes the price for London for that day. To see if I can find an article. I was actually reading something about this last week. It randomly came up.
Oh, nice. Interesting. So just before London closed, there's supposed to be like really heavy activity.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, these things are always interesting because you never know what kind of manipulation can happen there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, welcome. All right, let's take a look at. Oh, no chart came in. Oh, what's this? Let's take a look at this chart here. Straight from the gulag. Oh, okay, what's this? GJ, 15-minute. Trade executed over here. Parts was taken here. Okay, this was the rejection when price came back in. This was in the Asian session. Yeah, this was in the Asian session right here. Fixing the fix. Financial class bit of folklore. Yeah, this is gonna be the first time I'm gonna be watching London fix happen, so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here. London fix. By no means it's gonna affect, the way we trade, but I think it's really interesting here.
So that's the part that I was reading.
Oh, this part here.
Yeah, so it basically says what it is and why. So it's used, and then the next paragraph tells you why it's used. It's like pension funds and money managers use that as their rate.
I kind of think this is like balancing the books on a larger scale.
Yeah, I'm not really sure there's anything that we can really do to consistently profit off it, to be honest.
No, it's just like I think it's just like information, something that's happening after like a long time. Yeah, it should be interesting to watch what happens. Good morning. I've been watching you for a couple of weeks now, and I've improved my trading to the roof. To through the roof. Very nice, very nice. I didn't know you played football. Yeah, I played for 2, 3 years. Ooh, we have Nick in here. Hey, Nick. Oh, it looks like he's not ready yet.
Yo, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, good man. Man, that mic is HD over there.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's why I didn't hop on last week, dude. I would have been left with a little $20 lapel microphone I got from Amazon, but here at my setup though, I got this little podcast microphone thing, so it's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, no, it's very nice. So, for those of you who don't know, this is Nick Sean. I'm gonna put his Instagram up over here. He's our guest for Friday. Every Friday we have guests. So, man, thank you so much. You took the time. Well, actually, it's early as fuck over there, man. Like,
Rakeel,
you're.
it's 5 a.m., dude.
No, I appreciate you made the time here. Let me just put your Instagram up on over here. SHAWNFX. All right. So this is the Instagram of our guest here. You're from Texas, right?
Yeah, Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was there last. I was there in February. No, actually February. Yes. Yeah, I was there in February. Man, the one thing about Texas, the food, best food I ever had was in Texas.
Where were you specifically?
I was down in Fort Worth. We went there to eat and stuff, and then now there's Dallas, and then there's Fort Worth. Like
Correct,
they're
yeah.
kind of like the same, but they're like not the same. They're like two big counties, it seems.
Yeah, yeah. So Dallas is like sort of like the crazy side of the
Yeah,
DFW area, which is what they call Dallas Fort Worth. It's the acronym they use.
yeah.
Fort Worth is kind of like the side that I don't know. Most people will say it's like arguably like more chill, and so like it
Cowboys.
still has like big city stuff. But I love Fort Worth, man. I've been here since like 2016. I think like yeah, 4 years now. I had a place in downtown like for 4 years, and I literally just checked out of my place like last week, and so now I have a house here in Southwest Fort Worth, and it's more chill, it's more relaxed. But I love Fort Worth. What were you doing in Fort Worth, man?
Yeah, we had a boot camp. Boot camp.
Which in Fort Worth, like in
And
downtown?
no, we did it in Dallas by the airport.
Yeah, cool, cool.
Yeah, you're right by the airport. Someone sent this chart over here, and they entered on the break of the 15-minute candle, and they got stopped out almost immediately. The thing is, this 15-minute candle, which closed bullish here, this had no wick on the top. So when the candles have no wick on the top, this means there's no range for the next candles to go up. So you need to wait for the next candle to close, which closed bearish, and then like it kind of like didn't work out. Hey, I was looking at some of your stuff, and what I found was that you kind of trade almost the same way like we trade, but on a higher time frame.
If I'm just being like as simple as I can, you and I almost trade identically, except of course you're like H1 and below. Is that right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So other than that, it's almost the exact same. Like if you look like the trade I took a couple of days ago, if you look at GJ on the daily and you hang out around like 135.400, it's pretty much like almost identical to the way you guys trade.
Oh
Like
man,
entering breaks and retests. It's just on higher time frames. So
this this was the ultimate move here on GJ. On Sunday, when I saw this, I was like, man, they're 100% we're going back up to 136, 600.
yeah, yeah, and it happened, man. I wrote it all the way. Yes, I closed it yesterday after it started rejecting at around like 137. But it was a really nice move, man. That was like my best trade this week.
Nice, yes, amazing. How'd you start to trade? What was the story like?
I was in college, and we all know what IML is. And so
Yeah.
this guy told me, "Hey, man, do you want to join Forex?" And I was like, "Join Forex? What's this?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, you can join Forex. We got like a trading team." And I was like, "What does this mean?" He's like, "Man, some guy flipped like a $500 trading account to like 2,000 last night. and I was like, oh, I want to join Forex, and so
Join
I did.
Forex.
I joined the Forex. I thought you had to join IML to do Forex trading, and
Yeah.
so I did. I did it for like a couple weeks. Um, as we know, like IML is more marketing focused, which is cool, but like I wasn't learning much actually trading, so I opted to leave IML, and then I spent the next year and a half stumbling through the charts on my own, and I ended up getting a little bit of consistency after about a year and a half. So that was me, and that was around like summer 2017 is when I finally hammered everything in. It's making a couple grand a month trading, and since then it's just continued to compound and grow. So it's been quite the journey, man.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I think that most people have issues with like I think everyone can compound accounts, but the problem with people have is like they have problems withdrawing. Like they can compound, but they don't withdraw. That's the biggest issue, and I think like that's what keeps people, like away from success. Because like it's good you're compounding the account, but when you're not tasting your success and you're not withdrawing, I think then you don't know how to chase those things. Because like I think once you withdraw money, once it comes to your bank account, you start chasing that over and over again.
Yeah, I agree, man. You know, personally, like Rakeel, if you're not sending your profits to my Bitcoin wallet, then like I don't really know like what we're doing here. So like, no, but I saw you made, yeah. So you'd like doubled an account this month. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that is some crazy results, man. To do that with that consistency on these time frames, I haven't seen many people able to do that just like you do it. But it's crazy
Man,
how consistent you are.
like to be honest, most of it was all right, hold on, we got some background noise. Most of it was just gold. I mean, took a position on gold and gold just whips 30 pips, 40 pips, 50 pips out of nowhere. Um, it was mainly gold and just by looking at GJ, but mostly gold. I had a few good trades on gold that ran for like 40 pips, and that really pushed the level up.
That's nuts, dude. I mean, I'm happy if I get like 10 to 15% ROI monthly. And I looked over at your IG post you made like what was it, a day or two ago, and I was like, damn. I was like, my God.
No, that was I like my goal. My goal is like normally, like 20 to 30% a month, but this month was kind of like different. I have other business ventures, so I had like a big check coming from there, and that kind of like gave me a little bit of confidence. Like it's like when you have money set aside, then you're more comfortable risking a little bit more, while you're trading. But if you only have like, let's say, thousand to your name, you necessarily not gonna like go all out risking like way too much or over trading. um,
Yeah, having a little bit of a buffer, which is like capital, just like money. And I'm not talking like money in your trading account. I'm talking like you said, like money like in your bank to where there's like a buffer and you don't feel like the urge to like, oh, I got to make a return this month. I got to do it. It has to happen. It has to work out. Having that buffer really keeps you like mentally clear, and it's really beneficial because then you start being able to like jump into trades, and you don't hesitate to take trades based on your capital, which is a great thing.
yeah.
Beautiful. So did you guys actually take GJ just now on the minute 15?
No, no. It's a Friday, and on Friday I'm just chilling, relaxing. Yeah, that's what we do. On Fridays, we usually have guests, and usually we just like, help people if they're in drawdowns or not. We encourage people to send charts because, sometimes, people take like dumbass trades and they go in like deep drawdowns. So we encourage them to send charts so we can kind of like guide them. Okay, well, this was a bad trade to begin with, but let's minimize risk now.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, man. You do all this stuff for free. Like I got exhausted like reading some of the like stuff that you see online whenever you're like trying to help people out, and then like they're like, "Hey Rakeel, I am in 50% drawdown on my account. What should I do, sir?" And you're like, "Oh my God, close the trade."
Yeah, like like sometimes guys say a lot of nice things. Like someone here is saying that, "Hey Nick, don't trust this guy. He's scamming from Vantage FX." So like people show love all the time.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. Beautiful world we live in on the internet.
Um, all right,
You know,
let's see.
I've been following you, not following you, but I first found you 2 years ago, back in 2018, back when you were doing your Twitch streams, man.
Yeah.
And you've kept the consistency since then, doing the same damn thing over and over and over, just over and over, man. Just
Man, when
endless.
the only reason we started was because so now when I first started in April 2016, right? I started with a $200 account, and obviously, that account was gone within 4 or 5 days. And and then I was looking around the internet, and I was like, well, let me see if I can find some information. I'm looking through YouTube, I'm finding some nice videos, some harmonic patterns and some like. Actually, do you know the guy called Akil Stokes?
I'm not familiar with him.
Okay, Akil Stokes is on YouTube, and his videos were the first videos I saw where he was only like looking at candles and price action. I'm like, okay, it's interesting. So I messaged him like, hey man, like, can you tell me more about it? So his response were like, yeah, you can join my program. This and that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. I'm like, all right, whatever. I went to Instagram, same thing. Wherever I went, it was all like, okay, well, if you want to know this information, you need to get this package or you need to do this to know more information. So I'm like, well, this is kind of like interesting, because like no one wants to help me in this case. I'm like, okay. So fast forward. So I joined TED, like I started talking to Ted, and Ted started answering my questions. So I'm like, okay, well, this seems like a good guy to kind of like, at his mentorship and whatnot. So I did that, and then once we kind of got a little bit, so what we used to do was we used to hold private webinars. Like every morning we'd wake up at like 6:30, like a group. We'd host like
Yeah.
a webinar. We'd talk about gold. We'd talk about GJ, USDJPY, or whatever was happening. And then this was in March 2017. So for a full year we did that. We're like, okay, we're pretty good. Like when you're good, like, okay, like you're good. Like you can
Yeah.
predict moves, you know what's happening. So then Ted said, hey, why don't we just open this for everybody? So then I'm like, yeah, that's going to be a good idea, because like if we open it for everybody, guys can come on here, they can share charts, ask questions, get their questions answered. So maybe someone's going to be here who was in my position back when I started. So we started from Twitch. Twitch had like what? We started from like 10 people watching. For the first 4 months we had like 20, 30 people watching. You know, and guys said, "Oh, this is a waste of time." But now, man, like average, we have like 2,400 people. 24, 2,200. We actually got banned from Twitch as well.
I remember that. I remember that. So why did they ban you? What happened?
Um, what happened was that we were watching some videos, and there was this one video where this guy was being lynched on the roads. Yeah, he was
Oh my
being
god.
lynched. We showed that on Twitch, and the next day Twitch banned us. Twitch said, "No, you guys can't." They banned us, and you know what they said? Twitch said, "We're banning you for 30 days, and you can't talk to us for 30 days. You can't dispute this suspension for 30 days too." I'm like, what the fuck? What are you, my girlfriend? You can't talk to me for 30 days? And I'm like, all right, you know what? We're out of here. So we left Twitch. We went to Mixer. Um, we did Mixer for about 4 or 5 months. But the problem with Mixer was that not everybody had access to Mixer. Like some countries actually banned Mixer because it was from Microsoft, and they had some issues with Microsoft and Bill Gates, whatever. Um, and then we moved to YouTube. Man, we moved to YouTube. Huge change. Huge. YouTube is like YouTube, Google, and Facebook. They're like the Walmarts of the social media.
Yeah, no, YouTube's definitely the place to be, especially if you're trying to like, share your content with an audience. Like YouTube, I should have been on YouTube, man, like 2 years ago. Um, it's just crazy. But so how are you doing it now? Like you start like a Zoom call, and then through that Zoom call you can then broadcast through YouTube?
Yeah, so basically there's a software I use. It's called XSplit. So XSplit can basically log you into your YouTube account, and then you can directly stream from XSplit. Yeah, so I have like four platforms running at the same time here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a space station here.
Good stuff, man. Well, this works, dude.
So yeah, man. I mean, so how does the thing work? Like you have mentorship, education. How did that all start? What motivated you to like walk into the this dangerous education game?
Yeah, well, it started out, I mean, I started doing stuff for free, kind of like you did, but that was like, dude, this must have been close to the end of 2017. Because like I started, which I found it's crazy. You said you started in April 2016, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was introduced in March 2016. That's when I was introduced to Forex. So around the same time as you.
Oh, nice.
And the whole IML thing for a few weeks, and then like patchy learning curve. So anyway, about like the beginning of the summer 2017, like I was pretty good. I wasn't like making a ton of money. I was making like 2 to 3K a month maybe, but it
Mm.
was enough to like be consistent enough to where I could pay expenses because my expenses were like maybe 1,500 a month. So I was like, man, if I can just make like 2 grand a month, like I'll be good. And so I did that, and then did it for a couple months in a row, and it was fine. I was working like full time at Target, and I was also working at like my church in security. And so I left the Target job, and I just kept the part time job at the church, and I kept on trading. And then doing that for a couple months, it was cool and all. But then I found myself in this strange dilemma. I was like, all right, so for the past 2 years, I've wanted to like live life free and on my own terms, and now I finally got it, and it's kind of boring. Like I would just wake up and trade, and it was just me, and that was pretty much it. None of my friends really traded, and the ones
Yeah.
that did trade were in IML, and they didn't actually trade. And so I started just like posting my stuff online, like on Facebook back at the time, and I noticed I'd have people message me, some of them saying, "Oh, that's cool," and some people wanting to learn. And so after a couple people asked me, there's maybe like 10, 20 people asked me, I just made like a free Facebook group chat. This was maybe like October, November 2017 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then yeah, people would just join it. We would just all trade, share the setups we're looking at. And then I had people wanting to like learn like from me directly and have me teach them. And then it's when and at first I did it for free, but it started taking up so much time. I started charging like $100 for to like teach someone. Because I was in it just to like help people, but obviously like you don't want to do everything for free. If there's a lot of one-on-one involvement, it's just like it takes a lot of time.
Oh, it's
So
very
I charge a little
taxing.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little bit exhausting. I mean, I believe in giving some free stuff out. I think you do like an extraordinary amount of like just free content, really giving back to the community, and that's amazing. I did that here on YouTube for a while, but it just got so exhausting. And so at that point, yeah, I just sort of yeah, I just kept on growing the group or whatever. I renamed it like Mission FX because I had this whole cheesy like thing in my head like what's my mission for like doing this? Why am what am I motivated to teach for? And I'm like, well, it's my mission to teach people Forex, blah blah blah. So they named it like Mission FX or whatever. And since then I just kind of kept growing the group, and it's grown into what it is today, which is like a whole platform for just people to learn and stuff. So that's kind of why I got into it. But I'll be honest with you, dude, I would not do it right now if I was not making money from it. Like I just wouldn't do it for free. It would be way too taxing.
Yeah, man, like it takes a lot of time. Like people don't understand. It takes like you need to be on the game. Like it's like you're repeating the same things every day. Sometimes it gets frustrating, but it's like at the same time you have to bottle that all in, and you have to understand like every time when a new person comes along, they have sort of like the same journey like you had. So you have to like on YouTube here, right? We get almost the same questions every day for the past 2 years, Nick. Same questions every day, same shit. Because like it's a huge revolving door. We have around 100 people who show up new every day. So have the
Wow.
same questions. Yeah, yeah. It's dangerous how this thing is really like going on now. We call YouTube the gulag, if you know what gulag is.
Gulag. What? So
Gu-
what is that?
Gulag. It's a term from Call of Duty. Call of Duty, if you're a bad player, you die, you go in the gulag. So all the bad players, they go in the gulag, and then they fight each other, and the one who wins, they come back in the game. So some comments from YouTube, the gulag comments, some people send like bad charts and stuff like that. Guys here are talking about GJ moving up here furthermore. Um,
I think it's gonna keep pressing up, man. I think it's gonna
yeah,
try to continue all the way to that daily high at like maybe like I don't know 139.5, but we'll see what happens.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at too. 138, 139.
Yeah, yeah, I could totally see it. I mean, especially with like everything's just been moving with so much momentum. Like, oh wow, yeah, my God, it's cracked the high. So
Yeah, it has
good
cracked that
deal.
high.
So Rakeel, so you're are you're Indian, right?
Pa Pakistani.
Pakistani. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know because like I don't know if a lot of people know this about me, but I'm half Indian. Like my mom is from India.
We knew it.
Yeah,
We knew
yeah,
it.
half India, man,
We're-
and my dad's straight up white. Like so.
Yeah, we have a group, and we were talking, and we're like, man, this guy Nick, man, he looks like this modern Indian guy, like he's not white. He looks like modern Indian. We knew it. Awesome. Yeah, we're
Hey,
right over
both
there.
sides of the coin, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. Um, let's see if we have any questions. So, like, what's your basic way to trade? Like, what do you look for when your week starts?
Yeah, so it's super complicated, man. Like I sit in front of the charts and I just go to the daily and the H4. I find the direction that the pair is trading in. So just like the obvious direction, like the obvious trend,
Okay.
momentum, whatever the hell you want to call it. And then I just draw up very like obvious, significant like levels, meaning like support resistance levels
Yeah.
on like the daily H4 chart. And then I just chill and wait for breaks of those zones. And if we're like trending upwards, kind of like GJ this week, then I just look for breaks and retests of like the daily H4 zones. And usually I go to the 1 hour to look for some rejection prior to entering. It's so similar to what you do, man. It's like literally because you'll start on whatever and like
Yeah.
work your way down to like H1 minute 30 minute 15.
Yeah.
It's just like the same shit just on the higher time frames.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I mean, what I'm gonna do is what I'm doing right now. I'm just gonna like mark up zones on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, I'm gonna mark up my zones, and then I'm gonna go down to the 1 hour time frame. Basically, what my idea is that I'm gonna jump to the 1 hour, and then I'm gonna draw the most recent support resistances. So we got a support down over here, we got resistance coming up over here, and then I'm gonna see, okay, where can price move next? If we break the support, where can price move next? Probably down over here. If price breaks the resistance, where it's going to go next? And then just measure that range. If that range is around 30 pips, 40 pips, then to me that's like a good trade, a good range to trade in. And if if I put positions at break even, and if price continues to run, then it is what it is. We get a bonus then at that point.
Yeah, dude, this is literally like the exact same way I trade. The only thing is I always make sure that there's kind of like a clear direction, which I think I saw you say before you kind of trade with like if like the daily or the H4 or even the H1's like going in a certain direction, you'll kind of favor like maybe buys over sells
Mm,
in that case, right?
yeah.
So like that's like yeah, it's the same thing as me. I don't know. I haven't found a lot of consistency like you have trading like maybe 5-15 minute, but used in combination with like higher time frame levels, support resistance zones. Yeah, it works fine though. Like
Yeah,
looking at the candlestick.
yeah, the problem is when you're looking at the smaller time frames, right? You're more prone to, like, I mean, if you look at the 15-minute or the 5 minute, usually I tell guys that, hey, listen, like the 15 and 5 minute, you'll see setups all the time, but it's like when you buy stuff from China, from China you get cheap stuff and you can get them in large quantities. But then at the same time, like it's not going to have the best quality. Same thing when you look at the 5 minute or 15 minute, you'll find a lot of good trades to take, but the quality may not be there. So when you look at the 30 minute or the 1 hour, of course you have to wait a little bit more, but when the setup shows up on the 30 minute or the 1 hour, there's a lot of strong quality there. And especially when you're looking at the smaller time frames, you're more prone to overtrade as well. Because, hey, if you take a trade on the 15 minute or the 5 minute, you may get stopped out in the next 5, 6 minutes. Then what are you going to do? You're going to overtrade.
Yeah, you can try to get it back and all that shit. Well, that's good, man. Yeah. No, well, I mean, it looks like we trade pretty much the same way, but I think you've just got like a very meticulous kind of set of rules and stipulations for what sort of metrics you look at to determine like a higher probability trade versus one that's probably not the best. And you also have rules in place, like, for instance, like your whole no trading on Fridays thing. Like, I think that's a good one. You probably, so I guess the reason you decided to do that was you might have noticed a lot of your losses were incurred on Fridays, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I noticed that back in my trading career, back when I was trading, because I used to trade lower time frame charts. I used to trade like minute 15, minute 30 charts. And I would notice that a lot of my profits would be given back, as a contribution to the market on Fridays. So it's good that you have those rules in place, man, for trade filtration. I think trade quality is just as important of a metric to look at as basic stuff like risk reward and is the trade, is it liquid right now, is the market like moving, or is it just in a range? Like, yeah, I think trade probability is a really good thing to look at, and it's cool that you're able to filter those out, especially on like 15-minute time frame.
man. When I first started, we were trading London session. Would wake up in the London session, trade that, go to bed, wake up for New York, trade that till like 11, 12 in the afternoon. Then trade the Asian session, and it's just like a long process. We were looking at 10 pairs at a time and trading all three sessions. For 6 months, I did that, and I thought that, okay, if I'm going to do this for 6 months, I'm putting in so much work. I have to make money. I lost almost all my savings, man, in 6 months because
Whoa.
I had this idea, okay, the more I watch, the more I'm going to make. The more I learn, the more I'm going to make, and it was the opposite. I was making fuck all. The market was making all the money for me, or the broker, or whatever, and then a point came. I started to look around. I started to look around are all these successful traders, and what they did was they only focused on certain instruments, like gold, oil, your Dow, or like one currency pair, and that was it. And they were only trading. So at that time, like Ted is my mentor and really good friend. He was trading gold, and he was only trading gold in the morning, and he was killing it, And I'm like, man, this guy's taking like one or two trades every morning, and he's making money. I'm trying to trade every session. Doesn't make any sense. It made no sense at all. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? London session is something that's not working because I'm waking up in the middle of the night with my half eyes closed. So I'm like, okay, that has to go. I removed it. I removed that. My profitability went up a little bit, And then I looked at, okay, what's my profitability in the New York compared to Asian session? New York was way higher than the Asian because Asian has like low volume. Sometimes it ranges, and when
Yeah, so slow.
yeah, when price ranges, you're more prone to enter a trade because you don't want to wait. You're like guesstimating where it's gonna go. Had to remove that. As soon as I removed that, I stuck to one session. Man, things just changed. It
That's crazy. And in which pairs do you trade?
Mostly I look at so we started with USD CAD, when we first start because like I didn't know any better. All I thought was, okay, I live in Canada, CAD, US is next door, USD CAD makes sense. Um, yeah, that was how we chose the pair, like logically USD CAD. We did that, and then we moved to USJPY because we found out that, okay, if we're going to trade the New York session, we want to trade a pair that's only being influenced by one currency, so it's easier to trade. If you look at USD CAD, for USD CAD to move, you want one currency to be either very very strong or very very weak. But if we looked at USDJPY, the yen is closed in New York and only USD is open, so we're like, well, okay, it makes sense. And
Yeah, plus the yen is more of like a chill pair. Like that's why they call it that safe haven. There's not a lot of stuff like fundamentally and economically that really influences that pair to move a ton unless it's something major. And so like if you're trading like GJ, like you guys are doing now, like like all you really got to worry about fundamentally, like if there's like crazy news happening, is pretty much just GBP, and JPY is just like the pair chilling there, saying like, "Yo, Rakeel, I got your back, man. You don't gotta worry about me. You guys have fun."
yeah, I'm close. Don't worry. Yeah. You look at fundamentals a lot.
So here's the thing. I never used to look at fundamentals in economics unless it was something major. Like I'm talking like a presidential election or Brexit or like a tsunami wiping out half the continent in Asia, like so just something wild. But recently, the past 2 weeks, I've been applying a little bit more fundamentals just to kind of get sort of like to put things into context. So, for instance, like when it comes to trade filtration, I started asking myself, how can I increase my profitability even more? Because I'm fine with my returns of like, 5 to 10, maybe 15% a month. And I do that risking about 1% per trade. And my win rate is roughly like 50, like 40 to 50%. Risk rewards average from 1 to 1 to 1 to 3. So everything is fine, but I'm like, well, how can I make it better? Is there a way to make it better? And so what I started doing is I started studying a little bit of economics, fundamentals, and tried to put stuff together that would increase the likelihood or probability of a trade working out, much like yourself on like minute 15 time frames and not trading on Fridays and only looking at like US session or whatever you do. And then for you only trading certain pairs. And so what I did is I just started studying the basics of it. And I found through the past 2 weeks of testing that a little bit, just a little bit of clear fundamental context can really help get you into the good trades, and it can also help you stay out of the trades that may be less sketchy. So let me ask you this, man. Let's say you're trading like GBP JPY, and let's say the 4 hour trend is bullish and you go to the minute 15, you see a great break and retest for a buy. However, in like 15 minutes there's GBP news coming out and it's supposed to be really bad. Would you still take that trade?
I wouldn't, because
Yeah.
there's news. You never know where news is gonna go.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like ultimately you never know, but whether you know or not, even if you know which way it might go, sometimes the volatility will just pin you out if you're on those lower time frames. So for you, you'd make that decision to opt to say, all right, based on this, this trade is good technically, but since there's news, like so fundamentally the trade's probably not the best right now, probably one we should just chill out on. That's what I found in trade filtration the past 2 weeks is that like, man, if for instance, like I took like a sell on Euro USD last or Euro AUD at the beginning of last week, and there was really bad news for the euro, and there was also really good news for the Australian dollar. And so that means that in that pair, euro should have dropped, and then
Yeah.
Australian dollar being the quote currency in that pair should drop as well, since the AUD, the flip side, should be going up. Combine that with the chart technically wise, it was a great break and retest structure set up for sales. So there was a couple things in confluence, but that's the only reason I added fundamentals in is to just kind of like gather a little bit of confluence and put together the whole picture to just try to increase the probability of the trades. So now I've went from like a 50% win rate to like the past 2 weeks. Yeah, today is pretty much 2 weeks of increasing that to like just above 60%. So it's helped out a little bit. So that answers your question. If I look at fundamentals, I look at the major stuff, just like the super high impact news.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I keep the overall, scenarios in mind. Like my whole fundamental bias for the pound to rally was that, like, the virus is kind of like going away. They're opening up the economies now. I'm supposed to do a boot camp in London, so before I couldn't. Now they said that okay, you can come in. So that tells me that they're opening up their doors to tourism now too. So that's going to add more like value to the economy. So I mean, I kept those things in mind, and that's how I like developed my bias. But if someone said, okay, well, Raja, there's going to be CPI news, and based on what's happening, you think it's going to go up or down? I have no idea. I'd be like, no clue at all. Whatever happens, happens, and then we'll see what we can do. Someone asked, do you used to use divergence?
Yeah, that's how I got profitable trading, man. That was my first trading system. I was trading like RSI divergence on like the minute 15 time frame. Essentially, I'd wait for like breakouts to happen and I'd wait for price to keep pushing up and then start to make like two or three divergent moves on like the minute 15 chart. And then I would just counter the market for that area. If price would go against me, I would stack once. And then if it consolidated and went much further past that, then I would just close the trade at a loss. But with that system, it's you're gonna win most of your trades because typically you're entering on candles that are stopping a lot of people out because like if like how divergence looks on the chart, like it's like price is pushing up, makes a high, it'll pull back a little bit, then make a higher high, and that will pin a lot of people out. But you're pretty much catching like the end of the move, and you're betting that price is just going to pull back either momentarily or altogether make a reversal. And that worked really well for me for like literally like almost a year. The problem I had is when I started trading with bigger capital, like close to 100K,
Hmm.
I I would notice that there was no way to control the risk with like a hard stop, and I didn't like that because whenever you're trading like just like a 5K account, it's like it's not that big of a deal, you know what I mean? Well, depending on the person, but to me it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, hey, if I take like a $500 loss, $1,000 loss on these trades, it's all good because from that, like I can easily make like maybe a grand a week. And so with that, like the problem I ran into was like trading it at scale didn't work as good because like I'm like a percentage guy. I'm a really boring trader. I like to have like very low risk per trade. I don't like having like account exposure more than like, you know, a certain amount per day and per week. And so that's the problem I ran into. And then the second problem I ran into is it was a nightmare to teach. It requires like a lot of experience and testing, and it's a really discretionary system. And so those are the two issues I ran into with trading divergence. But it works fine, and I still have clients who do that or who do that, who trade it, and it works fine. It's just it's something that people have to gain some experience with trading, and you have to kind of like know which trades to stay out of and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just a nightmare to teach, man. Price action's so much simpler.
Do you think that once someone, they see a system, they kind of like want to rush the whole, like, like waiting and taking the experience? Like, what I mean by that is, like, let's say, like, if we start off by Fibonacci's, and someone takes a Fibonacci's horse, and they're trying to trade, sometimes what's going to happen is that people are going to try to like rush into it, like they'll give the system maybe like a week, and if it won't work for a week, they'll just say, okay, you know what, this is trash, it's not working
Yeah.
at all. I think at the same time, like, people don't give it time, because it's one thing to study a system, and then there's another thing for that system to mature in your head, and that comes by just watching it happen over and over and over again. Like, it's like I tell guys, hey, listen, trading is a very boring, monotonous process.
Yeah, it really is, man. I guess to answer one of the questions you asked, do I think people rush trading? A lot of us do, but for good reason. Like whenever you get into something, especially like trading or business or being an entrepreneur, you know, you want to make money relatively quick. And so you go into it kind of like with maybe not the best expectations because you're thinking, all right, I'm going to start. I just got to throw this damn Fibonacci thing on the chart and boom, money. Money will come. But a lot of people don't understand that trading is just like anything else in life. There's some skills that just take years to really get good at, and trading is one of them. It can take you a couple months, it can take you a couple of years, but it just depends on, you know, your skill level and your experience and how you test things. That's one of the issues I ran into as well, and it's why, like with clients here at Mission FX, one thing that they're required to do prior to even being able to get any mentorship from me or whatever is they have to complete what's called a 2-month demo practice period, and they have to
Mm.
meticulously track every single trade in a trading journal, like a Google Doc spreadsheet, with like the explanation as to why they entered, the screenshots before and after, all these metrics and parameters. So that way, like the goal is not to be profitable. The goal is just to like apply this stuff that you learn and then track it to kind of like get a baseline of where you're at. Because if you can see where you're at, then you can optimize and like start focusing on the strengths, and then you can start ignoring the types of trades that are not working out as well. And then that experience will then like give you a little bit of like intuition and stuff, so you can go out and you can make trading decisions that are more logical. Then the goal just becomes, all right, I'm just going to stick to the system. The goal is no longer, all right, I got to make money like right now, you know what I mean? So and that's a really good thing to focus on, is the system, because it's not going to work every day or every week, but if you do focus on the system long term, it will be fine. And yeah.
Nice, just like a vetting process.
Essentially that, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this: what was your first biggest withdrawal? I think that's just to beat people's curiosity. And what was that feeling? And what would you do? Like, what's your kink? Like, when you got your biggest withdrawal, what was your like? Oh man, let's do this now.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't much, man. It was like
Yeah.
2K. That was for my Traders Way account back in
Damn,
2017. It
that's
was like
pretty good.
midsummer. But the reason I just did that is to just know, like, okay, my monthly expenses this month was like it was almost 1,600, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take money out of my trading account and I'm gonna like keep this here, and this is my money to like pay bills for the next month. Because I was like eating very simply, like my apartment was cheap, like everything was like really cheap. And so the feeling, I don't know if the feeling was like, I don't think it was exciting, but it was more so relieving because I was like, I've been at this shit for almost 2 years and it's finally working out. Like it's about damn time. So I think the feeling was more so just relief that like, okay, yeah, I'm not like a millionaire or anything, but I'm making enough to pay my bills and expenses and not have to like work like a job like everyone else. And I think that feeling of relief that it was finally there, just it was really what made it worth it for me. And then going forward, like the next couple months, obviously, like I kept most of my money in my account. I would only really withdraw what I needed. So at the
Yeah.
time, I wasn't really doing any bigger withdrawals or anything like that. I was just compounding, and I kept my money in multiple trading accounts and stuff. But I mean, it was a good feeling, but it wasn't like exciting or anything. It was just more so like, all right, this is what I've been working towards. It's finally here. I'm not going to lose my top. I'm just going to keep on doing the same thing I've been doing, and the money will come as a result of just doing the same thing I've been doing. So that was, I guess, my feeling. Relief.
Yeah, it's pretty robotic. I heard that you worked in security as well. You know, I did too.
Oh, dude, tell me about that, man. What did you do?
I did. So basically, I wanted to be a police officer. You know, like I wanted to be a cop,
Me
and
too. Yeah. Whoa.
I wanted to be a
Wow.
cop. And then what happened was, then to be a cop, someone told me, well, you need to do security. I'm like, okay, awesome. I got the license. I became a security guard. Um, my whole job was pretty stupid. I mean, I just sit in a truck at night and I was just guarding an empty warehouse, and that was it. You know, I did that for about 4 or 5 months, and then I got hired with eBay and did that with them. They were building a new big facility, so I was there, and yeah, it was. I did that, and then at the same time, I was giving out tests for the like the police. So I did the tests, my cognitive test, physical test, passed everything. When the date came for the applications, I made my package, I sent that out, and what happened was they declined it. So I'm like, okay, well, why? They said, well, Mr. Raja, well, the reason we're declining it because you don't have any volunteer experience, you know, like any community volunteer experience. I'm like, oh, okay. So what should I do then? And I like pay to get that experience or like what's the deal? Then they're like, no, well, you have to do like I think it was like stupid like 400 hours, 600 hours. And I'm like, man, listen, I'm 26 right now and I'm trying to make money. I'm not trying to go into some volunteer experience to get this. I mean, I need to get this done. So anyway, canceled it. And then I was like, all right. And then I saved up some money to work on the rigs, and that's how I quit my security job. It was pretty fun. I, I did like some bounce work at some bars as well. That was pretty good experience too.
Dude, that's so nuts, man. Like, so I was going to be a Dallas police officer. That was my goal. That was my dream, was to do law enforcement and be able to serve my community and all that shit. Um, and so I went through Dallas Police Department's whole application process. For those of you who don't know what Dallas, Texas is like, just do a quick Google search. It's one of the FBI's top 10 most dangerous cities with violent crime
Oh,
in the United States. But for me, like coming out of college and stuff, being like 21 years old, like I didn't really have a lot of options because everywhere else to get paid on a good department, you gotta have a little bit of experience or whatever.
yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll start in Dallas. I'll work my way up, go to a safer department after that. So it took me 9 months and I completed their entire application process. PT testing, the little polygraph thing, a bunch of stuff. Like they did a whole background check. They called all my friends. They called they called the person that I smoked weed with when I was 16 years old,
No
because they
way.
asked you like all your things. I didn't really have much of a bad past, but like when we're in high school, we all do shit like like drinking.
That one time, we gotta call this guy.
Dude, I've smoked weed 3 times in my life back in 2016, and or no, not in 2016, but back when I was when I was 16. So this was like high school, and like they made you list like the date that you did it, like the damn date, dude. And I was like, I don't know, but I remembered it was my birthday. So I'm like, all right, so it was March 6th something. So whatever the year was. And so I put the dates down as best as I can remember. And then they asked for the time of the day you did it and then who you did it with. And they went and they called like all my friends. They contacted my family members, my relatives. They called my ex-girlfriend. Like they literally went through this huge process. And then 9 months later, like, yeah, I passed the application process. And so they called me. I remember it was February. They called me and they said, hey, we have a police academy starting in Dallas on February 28th, 2016. And I was like, okay. So the thing is I had just gotten like into like the whole entrepreneurship game and I was still deciding what I wanted to do. And at that point I'd kind of been questioning law enforcement and questioning if that was really how I wanted to spend like the rest of my life. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm in a dilemma right here. I can abandon all of this criminal justice stuff to focus on like being an entrepreneur and self-employment, or I can just say, screw all that. I'm going to be a police officer and then work a 20-year career doing that. And so at the last minute, Rakeel, I withdrew my whole application from Dallas. And I said, no, I'm just going to focus on self-employment and being an entrepreneur. And if this doesn't go well for a year, screw it. It'll be fine. After a year, I'll just like let it go. And then I'll just like, be a cop or whatever. And so I withdrew that application and then I kept looking around for ways to make money. That's when the next month after that, which was March, I came across IML, Forex trading. And then that kind of like trickled throughout there. So that was like that deciding factor, man. But before then, like I used to be like, I was like a patrol officer, like security guard guy driving around in like a patrol car, armed security. And then I did like the whole target loss prevention thing. And then security at a church, which was really chill. But yeah, that's so crazy that you used to do security and you used to want to be a cop. That's crazy. It's the same for me, man. That's nuts.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was the easiest job to get, by the way. Be a security guard, easiest job to get.
It's a cakewalk, man. You just chill most of the time.
Let's see here. Let's see if you got any questions here in the Gulag. Oh, Gulag is enjoying the banter talk over here. My biggest issue was with my withdrawal. Someone asked here was taxes. I didn't know much. My first withdrawal was about like for like $1,500. That came in nice, and then my first, I'd say like nice big withdrawal was like 15,000. And once that 15,000 came in, my accountant looked at me. He's like, you know, you got to pay 30% tax on that, right? I'm like, why? And I'm like, why,
Yeah.
man? And he's like, well, the mafia is gonna come get you. That's why you got to pay that tax. I'm like, oh man. So I learned about taxes really quick as I started making. Oh wow, G just continuing here.
Yeah, my in 2016, like the whole year, I made like 62K. It was like 62,300 or some shit like that. So like that's what I put on my tax return, and I didn't have a CPA at that time. I was doing it by myself, but I had a friend who was a CPA, and so like I asked her, I was like, hey, how am I supposed to do this? She's like, well, how'd you make the money? And I was like, well, I was doing it in day trading. And she was like, what was it? And I was like, Forex. And she's like, okay, then what you should do is just report that as capital gains. And for that, I think it was like 33% tax or whatever, which I mean, I was cool with it. I'm like, I'm happy with America. I'm happy with like, we get police and fire and all sorts of stuff. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, whatever. But it is kind of a chunk though. Cause like, let's say you make like, $1 million a year and you get hit with that 35% tax. That's a lot of money. that's like a lot. But I guess you pay your dues as a citizen.
Yeah, you know what I do? This time I spend on the live stream. So I'm basically having my company hire me as an instructor who's like like doing these live streams, and then the company pays me per hour. So I'm using that pay as a company expense. So when I make profits from trading, like they go to my company account, and then I can use these billable hours to count that as expenses, to go against the profits. So it's like
There's a lot of stuff you
win-win.
can write off. I have one friend who I won't name who it is, but he runs his education business, and he somehow opened up like a business in like Cayman Islands or the Caribbean or something, essentially where they don't pay any taxes. And then he did like an IP clause. So what that means is I think it's like intellectual property thing. And so in the Cayman Islands or wherever the hell it is, like you don't, apparently there's no income tax on your earnings there. And so if you have a bank account there and then you also have your business there, what he does is he's got his education business here in the US, right? And it's like an LLC. And so he like teaches and stuff and mentors. And then what he does is with his company in the Cayman Islands, that company has intellectual property rights over his company here in the US. And so what he does with that is he says, okay, we made like what, like 300K this year from like coaching or whatever. And so what he'll do is he'll then go to his Cayman Islands company or whatever and say, all right, well, but your company here in the US, you're teaching using our intellectual property, which I mean, he's the owner of both, but it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're teaching using our intellectual property, and you have to pay us 300K for the use of our intellectual property that year. And so he'll like take that and he'll write that off under his Cayman Islands company, and he'll pay that to his company in the Cayman Islands, meaning that the total profit for the US LLC will be like zero. So there was no profit, so he didn't pay taxes on that. But that money gets transferred to the Cayman Islands, so he still made the 300K or what, whatever he does for the month, for the year or whatever, and then he won't pay taxes on that. And it's really weird, and it seemed mad sketchy to me, but apparently
Yeah.
like it's just one of those like gray areas. I don't know, I feel like something like that would be kind of weird. I'm happy to just pay my taxes because I'm happy with like where I live and everything I get. There's a lot of weird ways to get around stuff and write stuff off, especially when it comes to trading or if you're running like an online business or something. There's a lot of stuff you can do.
Yeah, it's murky waters. Like, once you go off onto the Cayman Islands, Belize, all those places, it's murky waters, like something goes wrong and someone can come to you and say, okay, well, buddy, what's over there? Now we got to do a full. But like, I was talking to my accountant and he was telling me, well, like, what you can do? You can open up a company in Delaware. Delaware has zero sales tax, you know,
Sales tax?
zero income tax.
Yeah, so does Texas, like state tax. You still have to do federal if you're in the US, but zero state tax. Texas is the same way. Texas doesn't file you to or require you to pay an income tax, which is good because you only get hit with federal.
Man, it's pretty good still.
Yeah, or you could, and if you're buying an expensive car, Rakeel, which I know you prefer space stations over spaceships, but if you ever do buy an expensive car in the US, apparently you can register it in like Montana, and there's no sales tax on the car. So if you buy like Pagani or something for $1 million, like if you
Yeah,
buy it in California, you'll have to pay like 80K in taxes because it's around like 8% or whatever. In
yeah,
Texas, it's like a little over 6%. But if you register it in Montana with your LLC over there and write the car off as a company car, then you don't pay sales tax on that. There's a bunch of interesting ways to get around it. I think people coming into like the Forex game, once you start making like any decent amount of money, like a couple grand a month, I would just say get a CPA. Like I should have done that since like I started back in 2016. I have a full-time CPA now and a tax attorney and a business law attorney on retainer. But like coming into it, I would have just had a CPA because it's so cheap and they can save you so much money in relation to what you pay them. And plus, like you're not doing anything illegal, which is like the best part because for sustainability, you don't want to be like kind of throwing darts in the dark, kind of hoping you did your
yeah,
taxes the right way.
yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Man, GJ is running a train
Dude,
over
I
here.
saw that. It was just like spiking. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, GJ's on airplane mode right now. See now on Fridays, it's relatively dangerous in a way because like when a pair is trending like this, when it's approaching resistances, I used to be in this same spot. So what I would do is, if I would see a price really trending, I would look to see, okay, where's going to be the next resistance where I can just sell, just a blind sell. Price would
Yeah,
reach
just diving
resistance.
in.
Yep, I take a blind sell. It'll move up. I'm like, okay, take another sell. It'll move up. I'll take another sell in hopes of that it's going to come down. But I learned my lessons, man. Very expensive lessons.
Yeah,
Never.
I've found, just like you, I've found that it's best to kind of just trade with momentum, like whatever way it looks. So it's like just like what you do, if like H4 is trending upwards, H1's trending upwards, probably a better idea to look for buys on the minute 15. So
Yeah,
everything in
exactly.
confluence.
see. Ooh, okay. This is the highest people we've had on Friday. 2,100 people today. 2,100. Zoom has 134. Not bad. 2,200.
Wow.
Um,
So how do you which Zoom membership do you have to run this?
I have I pay like $60 a month. It has a 500 people limit.
Okay, cool. Because like I have
Yeah.
the I don't know which one I have, but I bought like one of their packages. But I think I can only have like 100 people, which I need more because I'm doing like live sessions with my clients like a couple days a week, and I need to like have something that works.
Yeah. 500 worked for me best. The reason I got the 500 was because I did a refresher webinar for everybody, and I needed a lot of space there. So,
Yeah.
so then I got that. Plus, like, it's amazing how Zoom took it. Man, once this virus hit, Zoom servers were down because everybody went over Zoom. Their customer service went right to shit because so many guys were calling them and like asking questions. I used to call them all the time and used to answer, but after this whole thing happened, once Zoom really got busy, once the stock really increased, they stopped answering calls, man. They just said, well, you're on your own.
So, stopped answering calls. Yeah, you have to have a $200 a month subscription with us
Yeah.
for we'll even answer your call, brother. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh my god.
Someone's asking, why do you use black candles? Yeah, I've seen people use black candles, like candles that have the same color.
Yeah, so me, I don't know. I don't really have like a super big philosophical reason behind it.
Mm,
But for me, using all the candles like the same color, because like my bull and bear candles are all like everything is just black and the
yeah.
background is all white. And then like my zones are just like a very light gray and like just black lines. Super, super simple. The reason I do that is just because of the simplicity. Like you got nothing but black and white charts. Some people say that, okay, in addition to your simplicity or whatever, blah, 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 maybe it reduces emotions because they say when you see like red bearish candlesticks, it can trigger emotions. I don't think I suffer from that right now, maybe at this point in my trading career, but I could see how maybe like red and orange could trigger some people to like be emotional. I don't know. I like the way it looks personally, and that's really just the real reason. It's just because I like how it's like super simple. The charts are black and white. The setups are either there or they're not. It's just a really clean look, and it's what I like best. So that's why I have it black and white. What do you have? Let me see right here. So you got a black background with green and red. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, background is mostly black because, first thing in the morning, no one wants to stare at a bright screen.
That is true, man. I blind myself regularly. Jumping too much. We're gonna trade, guys.
Yeah, oh shit. What's CPA? I'm in Canada.
Certified public accountant.
Certified public accountant. Yeah, I mean it's good. They keep track of your. I think once you really start getting like income to entrepreneurship, whatever it is, then you start looking into those things. Like once you're not withdrawing enough to pay your bills, like I don't think you should be worried about it. But when like so my dad, right? My dad's really on top of his finances and stuff like that. He told me like once your income from, whatever like things you do, it increases than what you were making before, that's the point where you need to get, some sort of a professional like to look at your finances because, the accountants, they're like doctors, like you have to tell them everything you're doing. In the start, I used to think, oh no, I should hide this from this guy. I should hide this. I don't trust him and this and that. But no, man. I mean, they really know their stuff, and they're there to like save you money. At the same time, once they save you money, they expect something in return too. That hey, I'm saving you X amount of dollars. This is my fee, X amount. Perfect.
Yeah, man. We've got like a CPA. We've got a bookkeeper that works with her, and like, but like I structure like my trading and my business like super simple. So it's like not a lot of stuff. But we have a bookkeeper who you got to send all your statements and stuff to. Everything has to have a paper trail and be tracked. It's just so much shit, man. It's like make it so hard for you to make an honest buck. It's just like God. But yeah, you have to report it all and stuff. But if you have a professional do it, it makes it a lot easier. Like so, because then just the peace of mind, I would do it just for that alone. The peace of mind, not having to be like worried, like betting, like, all right, I'm pretty sure I did it right. But if you get audited and they find out you screwed up, then Yeah, that you could like get in a lot of trouble here in the US, so it ain't worth it.
Nope.
I'm
Um,
so surprised about GJ, man. It's just like, my God, this is like 50 pips so far.
uh,
Lord.
this morning I didn't expect it to cross 137's 500, 600. And the way
Yeah.
it's moving, man, next week we're gonna see 139 for sure.
Yeah.
I want to address the elephant here in the room. A lot of guys asked me like, okay, so what was with FTMO and like, what was your whole reason to do FTMO?
Yeah, so my reason was like, and I think you tagged me in an
Hmm.
Instagram, or no, you didn't tag me. You were on my YouTube channel, and then on your
Yeah.
story, you posted that you're like, why are mentors doing FTMO
Hmm.
with if they should have their own capital to trade? Which is like a perfectly logical question to ask. Like, why the fuck would you need to do that? So the problem I was running into with clients is that I'll have a lot of clients that get profitable, and I'm not talking like flipping accounts overnight. I'm talking like people that are able to just produce a consistent 5 to 10% monthly. They're just controlling risk. They're making a little bit more than they're losing, and they're profitable. But the problem they had was that they didn't have a lot of money to trade with. They maybe have like a couple grand, even like 10K. But even with 10K, if you're making like modest returns per month, even if you jack up the risk to like around 2% per trade, which for me is a little more on the risky side, but to each his own,
Yeah.
you're still only doing maybe like 10 to 20% per month. And that's on like a decent month. There's not going to be every month like that. And
Yeah.
so on a decent month where you're making a ton of money on a 10K account, it could only be like maybe 2 grand.
Mm.
And so the thing I was trying to figure out is like, how can I solve this problem for clients? And so I looked around and then I saw a little bit of funding options. I had one of my friends who did FTMO and got a withdrawal, and I trust him. And so he said, he's like, yeah, it's fine. I've never had a problem with them. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try this out and I'm going to see how it goes. And so I did their free trial, and they give you like 2 weeks to sort of pass the verification process. So I did that the first week. I like lost a couple of trades, and so it went kind of like down 1%. And then beginning of next week, it like came back, and then I ended it in profit. But I think it was only like 1,500 in profit, and so I didn't hit their like little threshold for like the passing on the thing. I still ended it in profit. But if they would have given me like 2 more days, 2, 3 more days to do it, I would have hit the threshold. But here's the thing I noticed is that the free, like passing the free challenge or whatever, if you have a good week, it's good. But you'll never be able to predict market conditions that will offer you the types of good trade setups that your system presents. And so if you have like, like a slow week or slow month, you probably won't hit that goal. And then on top of that, another thing I looked into and found was that the requirements for the paid challenge are a little bit more strict, and then the stipulations and requirements for actually trading their funded account, that that's they have a lot of different parameters that you have to like pass, a lot of metrics that you like you can't trade before certain news events. You can trade certain pairs. They'll show you all the different economic news. So if you're like a scalper like you, it may be kind of hard to like want to stay out of like certain trades and stuff. And so for me and my trading system, I found it didn't work as well because it's not as, should I say, chill. It's not as like, all right, I can look at the chart and take a trade when I see one. It's like, all right, I can look at the chart and then I can take a trade if all these things line up. And then if it also lines up with FTMO system. So at that point, I was like, this is like too much. And so I just opted to just stop doing it and stuff. So that's why I started doing it initially. And that's also why I stopped doing it. It didn't work as well with my trading system.
Yeah, it was one thing like you mentioned that I was also thinking about was like if let's say you're a swing trader, right, and you really have to wait for your setups, and let's say you're like a day away from completing a challenge, but what if in that day your setup doesn't appear? And if you miss it, then that means you're going to fail the challenge. But at the same time, yeah, there were like certain things, I looked at and I'm like, okay, well, I think it's a really good opportunity for people who are consistent, but they don't have the capital. So you're right. I think it's a really good opportunity for them to really leverage those funds and really make money from it.
I think it's worth a shot if people want to do it. If anything, like the free challenge thing is free. But I think people that are able to consistently do it long term, you'll have to really sort of tweak your trading system to fit within their requirements for what you can and can't trade on the actual funded account, and read through the stipulations. Like if you guys, I don't know if you're able to see it, but they sent Momo a contract, one of my friends who passed the paid challenge. And there was a lot of like stipulations on what you can and can't do. And so when I looked at that, I was like, man, this would be kind of hard for me to trade normally. I would have to change a couple things to like get it to just work. So, but I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I just think people
Yeah,
should sort of like read through all of the little terms and conditions just to make sure that it's something that will actually be feasible for them. Because funding would be good. I mean, if we could all
yeah,
get funded, dude, it wouldn't have taken me like years to like make a decent amount of money trading. It would have been like off the bat getting
man.
cash flow from. So.
Man, first time I read those rules, I was like, "Oh god damn, man, these people
So
are
you've seen
tight."
them. So
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
read the
yeah.
actual paid contact, yeah, contract, yeah.
The
It's like I
whole
said,
thing.
yeah, it's not impossible, but it's just like I don't know. I feel like for most traders, I feel like it would be sort of hard to like
It's
do. Like I do you know? Okay, so I know two people that have gotten a withdrawal out of hundreds of people who have tried everything. How many people do you know who have gotten a withdrawal from FTMO?
well, I know Raul. I know
That's who I
Raul.
know. Raul and then my
Okay,
friend Jess. And you know,
Jess.
Jess told you.
Yes.
She told me the
Yeah.
same day. And she was like, "You
Yeah.
and Raja talk so much shit." And I'm like, "Whoa, we're not talking shit. We're just saying like most people can't do it. Like,
Yeah.
you know." And so, but so you know Raul and Jess. Do you know
Yeah.
anybody else?
Those paid videos on YouTube. That's it.
Yeah, but we don't know those people personally. You know what I mean?
No,
And
no,
so literally, you and I know the same two people that have actually gotten a withdrawal, which is good. But even then, like Jess, it took her like what'd she say, 7 tries, right?
oh wow.
It took her. I don't know if that's it's in my Instagram DMs, but it took her like 5, 6, 7 tries to just pass the paid challenge, and then trade the funded account. So I don't know, man. Like it is what it is, but I
Yeah.
I just wasn't seeing like a bunch of people able to actually do that with their stipulations. So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying for most people, it looks like it'll be very difficult to meet those thresholds. Even me, dude. Like I'm not a god who can just like
Mm.
do all that stuff. Like my trading system as it is gives me very modest returns per month, but it's consistent and it's predictable. And with that, I don't think it would be.
Yeah, some people are talking about refunds. Well, the refund is like, let's say if you pay the fee, and if you pass like a certain thing, they refund you the fee. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like, yeah.
Okay.
If the paid
Yeah.
for the 100K account, it's like $600 or whatever it is. If you pass it, then you'll get refunded the fee, and they'll give you the funded account. But it's not. It's actually a demo account that they say is linked to a live account. Apparently, I don't know. It's something like that. But like, yeah.
Man, like at the end of the day, it's good business on their part, and I think it's a very clever business. And when I first saw this pop up, I was like, wow, why didn't I think of this before? Why didn't
Yeah,
I?
that's what Momo was telling me. Momo's like, hey, instead of like teaching, why don't we just like give funding? Of course, capital. Give me 1 second. I'll be back. In 1 second.
All right. Looks like Sacha got his all hands tied. His hands are tied. No, no, no trading today. Man, I was watching this when Nick was talking. I was watching this. I saw this candle pop up. I was like, should I take a buy? I'm like, I should take a buy right now. And then I was like, no, 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 no. Gotta stop. Gotta stop. Um, y'all trade within this range? No, no, I didn't take this trade. I just washed it out. It's Friday. I'm chilling. We have a big Muslim festival. It's Eid. So I'm gonna be leaving in like 10 minutes here. It's gonna be a pretty busy day here today. You guys really masturbated the psychology. Yes. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I just gotta stay patient. Because the thing is, like, you get paid to wait. Literally, you get paid to wait. Just like as a security guard, you're sitting in a truck, you're standing somewhere, and you're getting paid. Just to wait. Wait for what? Nothing. We just wait to go home. Same thing here. Like you just get paid to wait, and I know I'm gonna wait till Monday, and I'm gonna get paid because on Monday I'll see something I like and I'll execute on it. Understand that we need to be okay with missing a trade. Any advice that we keep missing trade for weeks already? Yeah. I mean, if you're missing trades, I mean, let's say someone was watching GJ and they're like, okay, well, like I know GJ is gonna go up, and they missed the trade. So let's look back and see where you could have executed the trade. I think a good execution could have been somewhere right over here when this candle broke above these candles here, and then you could have had like a entry here with a stop below the 15-minute candle, which is like the like the breakout candle. Um, so that's how you could have done. So whenever you miss a trade, always look to see how could you have executed on that trade, because man, like these things are going to happen over and over and over again, and the more time you see it happen, the more confident you're going to be. I think Kervin Papa was in the trade here.
Yeah, you won't believe it. I entered right on top of this candle, the 15-minute candle. When this candle start breaking up from this candle,
Yeah.
and my stop loss was just right here, below basically this wicks.
Where's your cam, Kervin?
My
Yeah, what happened? Your hair having a bad hair day today?
no.
Kervin is an OG. He's down from Miami. Not exactly Miami, right?
Yeah, Miami Lakes.
Miami Lakes, yeah. Kervin's from Miami Lakes. He's been with us for a very, very long time. I think me and him started at the same time almost.
It's 4 years, man. It's 4 years. It's crazy.
Does seem like it. When I first started, I had two choices. One choice was this guy. He still has me blocked on Instagram. Nino. He's a person from my, like where I live in Mississauga here in Ontario. So basically, he was running a MLM company, doing binary stuff, and he was trying to like recruit people through Forex into his binary stuff. He had this gold Lamborghini, he had this penthouse, nice, all everything furnished. It turned out to be a rented one, and I had that option, this 20-year-old guy with the gold Lambo, or I had this other option, this guy called Ted, who's almost like 36 at the time, who's doing well, he has a job, he's trading at the same time too. So I had to make a choice, like, okay, where should I go? The young guy with the gold Lambo, or an older guy who's just boring trading? So logically I deviated towards the older guy who's like, boring trading, because he was answering most of my questions, but the guy with the Lambo, he was saying, well, you need to pay this monthly fee to get in. I'm like, nah, fuck that. I want to go to this guy over here. That's I kind of like make my choice. A pretty easy choice. I,
At a certain point when all every trader start their journey, I think we do some dumb stuff, and we start following for this, these fake schemes, like these guys driving Lambos and living in penthouses, all the stuff, because they want you to believe that's the life you're gonna get of trading. So basically, when I first started, I got scammed like in a bad way. I was paying for a service that I didn't receive any service. And if you message the guy that was teaching me how to trade forex, I mean, the guy disappeared for weeks. He returned a week later. Maybe it was a mess. It was
who
a
was
mess.
it? What was it?
Uh, oh
Come
man,
on,
no,
man. Come on. It's Friday. Come on.
no.
Dude,
Come
I don't know,
on.
man.
Let me spread the name.
Ah,
Let me spread the name.
come on, Kerwin.
Rag.
Rag?
Well,
No.
no. I was trading in different stuff. I was trading the market maker method with
Oh.
Berto Pulido, which is
Oh, I don't know.
the owner of Lioness Forex.
Oh.
Man, no, it was
And how did that go? Was that going good?
oh no, no. I mean, he's a friend now, but
Yeah.
after like only 2 years, I found out that that didn't work for me, because I learned how to trade the market maker method, but basically it's a mess. Three level of rise, three level drop, then it's a mess. There's no way
There's a
you're
lot of
gonna survive in
complexity.
this market if you don't know price action, and they don't believe in price action, to be honest.
Oh,
Like Raja said, they're looking for tops. I mean, for example, Gigi was pushing hard to the upside. So basically, they will say, okay, we're gonna sell now when the price is bullish. So, eh, you were most of the times you weren't dragged down.
yeah, we would have a fight. Like, this would be like a big argument. Like, why are you selling? Well, I think my turning point was when I started focusing on candles closing in my direction. That was the main turning point there. Because like normally, when prices turning up like this, you gravitate towards sells. You're like, okay, man, it's way too high right now. You gotta sell high, you gotta buy low. But what people don't understand when this term is said, buy low and sell high, what this basically means is like if price is going up, when they say buy low, they're talking about the retracement. They're not talking about just like buy when price is dropping. They talk about this retracement buy low. Or when price is dropping, they talk about selling this high to continue heading down. That's what they talk about. When I first started, I saw price moving up, like, okay, you know what? We're moving up. I gotta sell now. I gotta sell high, sell high, sell high, sell, sell, sell. And for the most part, it did not really work. This one time I'd get like a nice wick entry. If I sold, I'd get a nice wick entry right here. I'd post this on Instagram and I'd be like, man, look at this entry. And everyone just say, oh, wow, magician, he did a really good thing here. But after that, I quickly learned that that's not going to happen all the time. Not all the time you're going to get those wick entries. Most of the time, then it was all like, okay, you know what? I have to wait for candles to close in my direction and then look for trades. That's something that really, really changed stuff. Um, let's see
Yeah.
here.
For example, my the old Kerwin will be selling from here, because basically you see in this system, you see you're looking for M's and W's.
Mm,
So basically, this was the last high, the high of the day, let's say, is this area. So you
mhm.
start selling from there. It doesn't matter if these candles are bullish. So after getting like really, really punished by these moves, I learned when you start creating this support right here, and these wicks are leaving this area, and you're heading to the upside. But the old Kerwin should be selling.
Yeah, that was a mess over there.
Sad. It's sad.
I find people overcomplicate it, don't have the patience for it to buy support and sell resistance, only there is no break in trading. Yeah, like when price reaches a zone, you have to wait for candles to actually close in your direction and then execute your trade. Like how Nick said, it trades off the 4 hour and daily, and he'd be like, well, just wait for the 4 hour and 1 hour, and then that's it.
Yeah, people are like, all right, I've trade a 4 hour level, but man, it's taking forever. Let me just go to the 1 hour. Oh, there's a 1 hour level in here. Hold on. There's 15 minutes, minute five levels. Let's just trade all 15 of them. Let's just click sell. It's just like, it's mad, dude. Like, you just gotta wait for
Yeah,
these clear opportunities.
yeah. At times there'd be a nice sell, but dude, look, this time frame says buy, so we can buy and then sell later on. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
man, dude, wait.
Yeah. We've all been there, man. We all kind of go through that. Being patient is a huge virtue in trading. It's crazy that some of like the simplest little coined terms that people are saying are like the most true, like buy low, sell high, obviously within the clear trend. Like, if Tesla's going up, obviously I'm not going to look to just get in a short position. It's like just buy on like a good discount. Same thing in these markets, trading currencies. Same thing with like everything in life, like
Man,
basic stuff.
Tesla is going to be the first trillion-dollar car company ever.
Probably, man. Like I
100%.
own a Tesla and I love it, and then like I have like a small stock portfolio.
Mm.
Tesla is the only security I own that doesn't pay a dividend, and the reason I own them is because I really believe in the company. And I was able to get shares back like around like before the market crashed in March. In February and March, I was able to get in two positions at around the $730 price point. If you look at it now,
Dang.
it's been an amazing ROI. been nuts, dude. It's my only speculative stock. And everything else is boring, pays a dividend. Blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah, that's true. I guess my contribution towards the Tesla truck that also moved price up, right?
Yeah,
I
your
think so.
$100.
Yep, yeah, I think that has something to do with the volume too. It's coming, man. I can't wait for that truck.
Yeah, I mean, when do you think it'll actually come out, though? I've learned to add a year to whatever Elon says.
Yeah, I just fucking know. Ted applied for the Roadster, and that got delayed by 2 years. Who knows when it's gonna come out?
It's gonna be longer, dude. They're not focused on that at all.
No.
They're focused on like getting the truck out, finalizing Model Y production, getting all those pushed out. The new Plaid update shit for their Model S, man. That was to the point where like Tesla's cars are so good. I would rather drive my Tesla than my Porsche. And I was gonna like literally just get rid of my Porsche and get another Tesla, just because they're so good in every way imaginable, from fun, from practicality. It's like it check marks every single box that you'd need in a car. Like the fun factor is really high, and pain in the ass factor is really low for the Tesla. They're such an amazing company, man. They deserve to be like top of the car companies.
Yeah, once the truck is out, I'm gonna be the only guy in my neighborhood who would have the truck.
The truck.
At first, the
Yeah.
truck looks ugly, but I think because I started looking online and I started to like this truck. I don't know for some reason, and I know it's ugly.
Bro,
But,
this is a
I mean-
Really
tank.
brainwashing you.
Like
yeah, I know.
you're driving a tank on the road, and this
But
is this is gonna turn heads, man. Look at this thing. Some
Yeah.
ugly ass weird shit out of a fucking
Man,
that-
alien movie.
That's what I love. The tire.
This is straight out from Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, look at this light on these top lights. They're optional, so you got to pay extra to get those top lights. I'm getting those top lights too, and this I just can't wait. There's a rumor that these tires are bulletproof. Not someone's gonna shoot at you, but still, the bulletproof tires.
Oh, and another thing, Rakeel, is that you can also trade from the screen inside, so that's like a plus.
Yeah. There we go. Park on the highway and start getting anxiety attacks on the 15-minute time frames.
Yeah, you're like scrolling. Like I've traded from my thing, like on TradingView. They run
Yeah.
like their little like system like browser off of Linux, and so like you can log into your TradingView account. I can like enter positions like using my Oanda like trading terminal from TradingView in the Tesla. It's like crazy to just always have your charts with you in your car, in your car, in your truck.
So Naz, what type of car do you like? I really don't like cars. I'm not into cars. It's not like I'm gonna go out and be like, hey, I want this car. I'm really looking forward to get a RS7. That's like my all blacked out. That's yeah,
Wow.
RS7.
That's a car, man.
Yes, yeah, they're pretty hard to find here. You can get them in like blues and like reds, but black really hard to find. But in the 2017 one, that's it. If I get that, I'm like, I'm good. And then down the road, like if I have the ability to get the Rolls Royce, the SUV, I think at that point, I'm just going to say, okay, you know what? I got this car. I'm not going to work ever in my life again because my life is set. That's going to be me saying, okay, you know what? I've done what I wanted to do. And, well, I guess you could buy a jet too, work towards a jet. It's funny because I was talking to somebody yesterday and we were talking about different thresholds of success. And they were saying, well, what's next? So this dude I was talking to, he owns around 56 apartments in Vancouver. Vancouver in Canada is one of the most expensive real estates here, like in North America, like San Diego? No. San Francisco? Yeah, San Francisco is pretty expensive. It's kind of like that.
San Francisco's pricey. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so the dude said like, hey, like when I reached my first $500,000 year, I was like, okay, you know what? At the time I thought that's a lot, but then I didn't think oh god damn, man. This thing is just moving.
Freak, GJ. And man, I just closed 75%. God Damn.
Oh, like your
Jeez.
position?
Yeah, on my first position from 137 412.
So you're letting,
God.
And I closed 75% like 30 seconds ago.
and you're letting the rest run.
Yeah,
Damn,
whatever.
man.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, man.
I
When
never
GJ,
thought that it's gonna break through the 138 flat so hard.
when GJ and Gold trend, they don't care for human life, man. They just keep on going.
Peace.
I can guarantee someone's in cells right now and they're like, man, what the hell's going on with GJ? this is this is the point. When you take cells and these things happen, you start thinking, these stop hunts are real, market makers are real, they're watching you, they're trying to take your money. But what about people like Kervin who are in buys right now? Kervin's like, oh, screw stop hunts, they don't exist.
Yeah, no, I followed. I go with the stop hunts. If you believe in stop hunts, man, I know it's not gonna be to the downside, to the downside. So, and it's funny because since London session with Monty on Wednesday, I planned this trade. I broke down the entire move, and I broke down this trade, and I had two position run-ins on Wednesday, but Wednesday barely moved anything.
Yeah.
Most I got like 50 pips, something like that, and yesterday I got another one, another 50. So by now, if I don't used to hold trades over from one day to another. So basically, I close around 2 or 3 p.m. every day, and then if I held these trades, the two position I had from 135 868, man, it's a lot of pips. It's like 250 pips. Can you imagine in two position 500 pips? That's
Crazy.
a that's a good paycheck. So yeah, but yeah, GJ has been it's been trending so nice.
It's so majestic the way it moves, just like a horse galloping.
Yeah.
Uh, Raja missed like 70 pips. No, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm okay with missing
Eh.
70 pips.
Next week we got it.
This is the thing. When you're missing trades, I used to look at that, man, I should have been in it, shoulda, woulda, coulda. But now I'm just like, I've seen this a lot of times, and it's gonna happen again a lot of times. So you gotta be okay with that reality.
Raja, I came on late, but would you say the safe entry here would be like when break on the 30 minutes breaking 137 495?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's where the resistance was formed and guys took sells. And that's when I was wondering, well, why are you trying to sell when we're uptrending? Like, for the most part, you should be looking at supports being formed.
People sold GJ.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can watch every single replay this week of the live stream, and you'll see how many targets we gave to 138.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the road to 138, I bought GJ like 20 times.
Yeah.
Buy, close, buy,
Yeah.
close, buy, close.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is a lot of people sometimes they'll be worried that they miss like the overall big move, like they don't hold from like 135. But I mean, if you buy it enough times with like sort of the dips, it ends up working out to be the same, and it reduces your overall risk because you're not getting stopped out of that one move. You've taken it several times. I've done tests on that where people have always asked me, they're like, well, Ted, you knew it was going to 138. Why didn't you hold from like 135, like when we called it earlier this week, right? When I actually do the math, if I was actually trading GJ consistently, that it would probably I would have maybe made 15 or 20% less if I than if I had held it all the way through. But then for me, my comfort level is 100%, right? So if you traded this all week, you probably were just in buys and you were just grabbing the dip each time, and maybe you missed out on like 15 or 20% of the whole entire move. If you were, instead of swing trading it, you were just actually just, you know, scalping it.
Yeah. And this week I don't have any single sell on GG. All buys, all buys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I had an entry at 136. Wow. I just looked at my history. That was the other day when we called the 136 and we said we was going to 138. I didn't expect it to go to 138. Well, I mean, I sort of did. Now, the way that it's looking, it should top out at 139. It'll just finish that whole entire move.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
surprised it really did that mirror because we had that little, because of the fact that we're here on Friday, but it's really mirroring those other candles we talked about the other day.
I think we talked on Wednesday about the monthly candle, the 2 day left for the
Yep.
for the monthly candle
That's right.
coming for the wick fill. Yeah.
Yeah, so like Monday, it'll finish off this move.
We expected 138, but not this week. I didn't expect it
Yes.
this week.
Correct.
I
yeah.
did. I will send you a clip from the London streaming.
I just expected there would be a pullback today. Well, there was a pullback a bit yesterday.
There
Yeah.
was a pullback.
And then it was gonna fly for like the beginning of the month, not the end of the month. But I mean, it's gonna hit 139 now. So whoever's in there, I mean, if you hold, you should be good. The only issue is when you look on the weekly, we have that one candle. What we were talking about yesterday on the live stream on the weekly. This candle here, that's your issue, right? We talked about this. If you go to the live stream, we talked about the fact that this is clean, like you have all this clean traffic all the way up, but then you have that one candle that sort of messes you up. So if that candle was erased, then that's where I said we're 100% confident we're going to the top of this level here. So we should top out at 139, just the way that everything's moving. It just might be a rocky road to get there, but this is your top out right here, because this is all clean traffic all the way up. Like I said, the only thing that I was concerned about was this candle here, that potentially as you look to the left, you might find that there could be a rejection at this point, but with the momentum, the way it's moving, it's actually pretty heavy. So you got a nice move all the way up to that level.
But Ted, what you're saying is I should just like buy GJ with 100 lots, no stop loss right now?
Pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, I always believe 100% of my analysis. I don't waver.
Momentum is strong. I believe in 100% account risk per trade.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't. These kind of opportunities, when you look at this, you base it on probability, based on historical information. Most times, it's not necessarily, I would say, dumb luck. It's just when you look at what your opponent's doing, and that's sort of my mindset every time I'm looking at the charts, is what's my opponent doing and where does my opponent need to go? And when you look at everything, if you were just to go back to the weekly there for a second, Rajan, you go back to the weekly, and if we were just to take away all this, oops, sorry. Like if I zero in on my opponent and I do this, like, and I take away all this, so we get rid of everything here. You know, people can't see anything. If I zero in on my opponent and I'm looking to see how my opponent's going to move, and I'm just working on this area here, what's the most logical sequence? If I'm just looking at this area over here, what makes the most sense? So from the beginning of the week, my first logical targets were essentially filling this wick over here. We know that support was over here. We know that this area is going to break. So what I would say then here is, okay, this is a resistance level, right? So this would be my first target if I was swing trading. I would say, okay, at this point, if we get to that target and fill that wick, we have momentum. Now that we have finished that wick and we're still pushing, if we look now at this specific candle, where's our next logical target, right? And this is where confidence and experience comes in, because you say to yourself, okay, well, you know, this candle went all the way up, this candle went all the way down. Like, does it make sense logically for the candle just to stop right here? Like, you know, just, okay, that's it, we're done. Like, why would it stop here when we've had two candles come up to here? And this is, and you know, when you look at it from this standpoint, when we clear out the whole other side of the chart and we just look at this specific idea, when you start seeing this over and over again, that's where your confidence level comes up to that point of like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Like, why wouldn't we finish there? Like, you know, there's been so many other instances where we've had similar candles, maybe on different time frames, where we finished, we've come to that top of that range, right? So we've basically dipped all the way in, down, all the way up, and we've basically finished. So we've always come to that point. The challenge now as a trader is, you know, like, how long is this going to take? Like, you know, is it going to take 1 day? Is it going to take 1 week? Is it going to take 2 weeks? That's the challenge as a trader. But when you see this happen more often on the higher time frames, it becomes like clockwork. But then you have your comfort level, and you say to yourself, okay, well, you know, is it going to happen this week? Is it going to happen next week? Like, that's the challenge in trading. It's not, are we going to get there? We're going to get there, but how long is it going to take us to get there? In that respect, I think that's the challenge every trader has, and that's, you know, that's what it will separate you. And when you're swing trading, that's what can also hurt you, because now, if we don't get to 139 today, as an example, well, do we smash all the way back down to like 137, 500, right? And then you're like, well, Ted, you told me to buy with no stops, and it's like, well, we also have to use logic. It's Friday, right? Like, you know, are we going to go, like, what would be the probability of us going that heavy to 139? Is it possible? Obviously, anything's possible. But I mean, would I bet on that 100%? No, because of the fact that it's the end of the week. These are one of those trades where if you're in at 136 or 135, you're laughing, because you're saying to yourself, well, I don't care, Ted, when it happens. I know it's going to happen, and thanks for the additional confluence. But for someone who's looking for a trade right now, it'll blow you out of the water, because you'll say, well, Ted said buy, and it's at 138, which is a, you know, psychological level, or whatever you want to call it. We have that little wick to the left on the weekly, and if it rejects here, it can reject hard 30, 40, 50 pips, and then, you know, Sunday night when market opens, it gaps up, and then it runs a train all the way through Monday and Tuesday, and you're like, oh man, I wish I wouldn't have gotten stopped out. So I mean, it's just one of those things. But I mean, from a logical standpoint, do we see 139, like 138, 900? 100%. Like, I guarantee you next week it'll be 138, 900. Like, it's just the way that the chart is printing and price is moving. We'll get there. I mean, maybe we get there today, like, you know, London close, maybe it pushes another 30, 40 pips, and then you get spillover into like the afternoon session, and then by the time we close at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock Eastern, it's done.
Yeah, it seems like we may have some movement with London fix. I don't know what that is, but apparently we're gonna have some movements there.
What's the London fix? Does this happen all the time, or what's this? I've been hearing about it.
This is the first time it's happening, I think, after 2012, and that's basically all I know about it. There's some articles about it. I'm going to read them later on. May not read them at all, but it's something they're doing with the rates or something like that. I have no clue.
Okay.
US money printer going crazy. I expect the pound to rally big. Yes, the US. I think the North American money printer is going crazy printing money. They're just nuts. I think the way they're printing money is just throwing money in a losing trade, and a losing trade is the economy here. Yeah, man. When the C word hit, oof, God, markets collapsed. Printing money, putting money into the market, pushing it back up. It wasn't working at all.
I'm happy that people stopped selling the euro and started buying. That was nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad we have everyone now on the right side. I was sort of worried about a lot of people's accounts when they were selling the euro. And, they were showing, no, don't worry, guys, we're going to 122 and 123.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't help everybody in the world, but I mean, at least we kept telling people to buy the euro instead of selling it.
Like when this dip happened here, I was like, yeah, this is like a retracement here because back on the 24th, the daily came down when they were like, okay, we're coming down now. But when it retraced, I'm like, yeah, it's retracing because it's like a lava point. This is what I call
Yeah.
lava. Hot lava. Price comes in, touched it, and whoop.
But it was just funny though, because from a logical standpoint, if you look at say the euro and the US dollar, it was so bullish. And if the world currencies are, and this is just just from an idea or a thought standpoint, like a thought perspective, if the world currencies are like pegged against the US dollar, and the euro is flying against the US dollar, why would suddenly the euro yen start to drop? Obviously people say, well, there's not 100% correlations, and I do agree with that statement, but from a thought process, they're going to move in a somewhat correlated manner, but not exactly. Obviously we had pullbacks on both pairs, but it was just, you sort of looked at that, and I saw that because I was looking at the euro yen, and I was watching that because everyone was cheering on social media that now it's dropping, and they're going to make buckets of money, and I took a look because obviously I fade everybody on social media, and I looked at the euro USD, and I was like, why is euro USD now at 1.175, right? Like, why are we so high and the euro yen is dropping? And then I looked, I'm like, oh yeah, it's the daily candle pullback to go further up. And the same thing happened on euro USD on the daily too. There was that one day where it pulled back and everyone's like, oh yeah, see, now euro's dropping. And I was like, I don't know if it doesn't break that support. And yeah, sure enough, it flew up to where it's supposed to go. And now I think euro pulled back a bit today, but then that's you get the same cheering section today saying, hey, you look, euros hit resistance, and we're going down. And it's like, it's Friday, it's the end of the month, end of the week, and it's just gonna be a pullback.
Man, you got a lot of work to do with these comments here.
I know, I'm gonna be on that all day. I looked at that this morning. People wrote novels.
1,300 comments.
Feel sorry for you, Ted.
That's okay.
So what's this about? Are they going to get like a $1,000 account?
Yeah, no, I'm just giving away $10,000. So 10 people get $1,000 a piece, and like I said, you can do whatever you want with the money. If you want to withdraw it out of the account, go ahead, take it. If you want to trade it, take it. Don't care. It was just something for me to do to give back. I didn't realize I hit 40,000, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And the fact too that one of my when I did mentorship, one of the groups was like in June and July, like we did a mentorship intake there. So I figured that was good. Do some good for the community and give away some money. I did enough damage this week in the market. I can shell out 10,000.
Man, this was a great week. This week,
this week was amazing. God.
July felt like March, the kind of volatility we had in March.
Exactly. I was about to
That's
say
what we
that.
were saying. March and April. I mean, even like, because the levels were being so nicely respected back in like March and April. It was just stupid how easy it was to trade because there was no like crazy spikes or wicks past zones. Everything was just like technically sound as long as you were on the right side of everything. Man, I'm thankful.
Yeah, I wish I had paid a little bit more attention. I was busy working on some other projects. I wish I'd paid more attention because, like, say for example, like gold, man, gold really respected like 1960, like that area. It just it created a support obviously, and it keeps ripping back down. But if you bought the dips, like you were in really good shape, and even today, I mean, it doesn't cease to amaze me. If you go and back test the last 6 weeks. On a Friday with gold, every Friday it's ripped like up for no reason. I don't know what the rationale is between like literally the last 4 Fridays in July and June, especially like I would say the last 6 Fridays. If you go and back test the Friday candle for gold, it's just ripped up like $20 or $15 for no reason. Like it's just the end of the week. There's somebody somewhere saying, hey, I just gotta just dump money into gold for the next week. Yeah, it's been a fun week.
Well, the gulag is asking how do we do the 1K? It's already done.
Yeah.
It's already done. You're too late.
Yeah, I'll go through that and I'll do it. I'm not giving away 10,000 to 10 individuals. Oh, God.
Man, don't people listen?
People don't read. People don't listen. It doesn't say anywhere that I'm doing that, but I mean,
People messaged me yesterday saying, "Oh, is Ted giving out 100,000?" I'm like, "What?
Yeah, I know.
Are you
I
guys
received some
dumb?
messages too.
What is- Go play the lottery."
yeah, like I mean, it doesn't say anywhere that I'm giving away 10,000 to 10 people. I mean, I could do
Well,
that too, but I don't think it would be
Ted.
responsible.
yeah, on your story,
Ted.
not the post, but on your
Ted,
story.
the wording is wrong, man.
How's
It
it
says
wrong?
today I will be giving away 10,000 USD to 10 different individuals.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
No, on the post itself.
on the story. Yeah,
Oh, you're
right
giving
there.
it
On the
10,000.
story.
Oh,
On the
yeah.
story.
Oh, okay, all right, fine, y'all
Oh.
got me.
Oh, Ted, we gotta send him to the gulag now.
Oh, I'm going to do it. But I guess I sort of clarified it on my story, though, right? Like, on my
Yeah, it was
post.
clarified. Like in the post, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
None.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna have to pull an Oprah and give away 10,000 to 10 people, right?
Round 2 of GJ.
Well, don't worry about the rest. You send me 10,000, and that's it.
Yeah, I'll just give away 100,000. Then. How about that?
Do we expect a push up if the support is respected? What support? Support was broken a long time ago. And I mean, oh, that was resistance and it became support. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna head off over here. It's Eid here. Eid is like a Christmas for us. We're gonna do sacrifice goats and cows. You know, the vegans are probably gonna die today. Whatever.
Send me videos.
Yeah. Nick, thank you so much for taking the time, waking up early there in your time zone. You know, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a nice weekend. Enjoy.
Here's everyone.
I love the podcast Fridays, man.
Friday podcast. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to try to bring the crazy options lady back.
Nah.
Bro.
No,
Yo.
that's fun.
I'd love to see that. I want to see that.
She's fun. Yeah, we should
Oh,
bring
you
her
saw
on.
that? Oh, man.
That day I ended
bring her
up with
back.
headache.
Bring her
She
back.
was here. She was here that one day, man. Like you know, when she went off on everybody, I messaged her. I'm like, hey, listen, like, why don't you come to the live stream and then, like, you know, just say what you have to say. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And
I
people
think she
went.
stopped trading.
I know Kivan.
People went wild when she came on.
Dude, she's featured me twice on her channel. I'm trying to get her to feature me a third time because, dude, I'm getting clients from her making those videos about me.
Yeah.
So it's like, keep them going, dude. She's wild.
Roger, can you pull up her Instagram again for me?
Yeah.
Talking options.
Because I think
Talking
she was just a
Astros?
quarantine trader. Because I haven't seen her post recently.
Talking
Yeah,
options where you have more options to have more options to trading options.
What's the last
What options?
Oh, yeah.
This one
Oh, she
was
posted 5 days ago. Okay.
5 days ago.
Back to talking
I thought she was a
options, right?
quarantine
Teach you how to
trader.
trade options, giving you some better options.
She
and
probably is.
options that you had before.
That
Today
is
we're
sick
talking about
line, man. Hey, let's hear it again.
This video is about proof that you can have one too. See, I told you guys.
Kevin went hard on her.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. I told her, I had told her, I said, she was like, I had said, can I send over my tax statements to her? And she didn't say anything.
It's all for clout, man. That's all it is. All
Yeah,
for-
she's just trying to get attention. Like, she doesn't
Yeah.
actually think like this. She just like posts about it because it gets a lot of views. Because it's pretty entertaining to watch. I mean,
It's hilarious.
especially some of her replies to comments. It's like, it's entertaining. So like, I see why she's doing it, but it is
Dude,
what it
she
is.
jumped to
sad.
31K followers, dude. She was at 10,000 when she was featured, I think.
No, she was at 8,000. Then after the stream,
Oh.
jumped to 11,000.
Roger got the
She was
numbers.
less than that when I found her.
Yeah, Yeah, no, it was pretty fun. We're friends now, so it's all good.
Moon cycles.
So far we have Championship Berlin, which was an amazing streaming, and now Nick. It was quiet and nice, and yeah, very good.
Can you bring back the animal rescue lady?
Who?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, the animal rescue lady.
Animal rescue
Wow.
lady.
That's
goose.
that.
Oh my God, what is this?
Yeah, there was it's basically a farm out in New York, and that farm is basically it's a I think it's a non-for-profit, and when this virus hit, they got hit hard because all their revenue comes from people visiting the farm. With they basically take in leftover like farm animals like goats, chickens, cows, stuff like that. And so basically what what we did was like from our perspective is it was like they'd give a virtual tour for like amount of money. So we're like, okay, I think it's going to be a great idea to have them on and like like donate at the same time. They came on and then it was pretty cool. They showed us around the farm. We saw some llamas. We saw some goats over there. And we named some goats too while they were showing the goats. We're like, oh, this goat is this goat is that. From the Forex industry, we're like, oh yeah, this goat, that goat. Yeah. We've had well, you're on now. We've had KenFX on. We've had Q Banks came on once. Um, Ty came on. We had a lot of
Fibs
people.
don't lie.
Fibs Don't Lie came on. Yeah, it's like turning into a Joe Rogan of Forex here slowly.
It really is, man. Good.
Oh yeah, you know what? We should invite Barbara, the proper woman.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Let me reach out then.
We
This
might
one
have
ti-
to get we might have to get Jess on, man.
Who?
Yeah, we should bring Jess on, honestly.
Okay.
Dude, she's a beast, like crazy.
Yeah, let's see what we can do over there too. There was this one guy we had on. So this guy, so we were one day we were trading gold, right? We're trading gold, and gold is dropping, so we're trying to sell gold. And there was this guy in the YouTube chat, and he was just like bad mouthing us, just going on and on. He went on for so long that a point came where we couldn't ignore him. We're like, who is this guy, man? So we're like, all right, come on the mic, just say what you gotta say, come on the mic. And we didn't expect he's gonna come on the mic. He came on the mic, and he went off like, you guys don't trade Wyckoff. You know who Wyckoff was? The Wyckoff method is the holy grail of trading Forex. You guys are simply idiots. You guys are idiots trading this support resistance. And we're like, dude, who are you, man? Slow down. And yeah, we had a big fight with that guy. We had a huge fight. He was basically like, if you don't trade Wyckoff theory, you can't trade at all. And according to his Wyckoff, gold would go up, but gold actually dropped. And it was like, yeah, well, whatever, I guess Wyckoff works.
GJ on 30 minutes looks like stairs to heaven.
What's this? Toby J Hook. Why would I have?
Sammy, see if he accept the invite. He's a guy from Montreal.
Yeah, he blocked me.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Why? Whoa,
Not
wait.
surprised, to be honest,
I
Raja.
don't know, man.
Everybody's blocking.
Everybody
Raja,
blocks me.
you know who we got to get on here, man? I just thought about it. My FX journal
Oh,
Journey.
who's that?
journey or whatever.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. I see her a lot.
In the old days when someone would be accused of witchcraft, and the whole town would take up pitchforks and they would go to their house and burn them. Some people, when we have them on the live streams, that's what I'm afraid of, because the gulag is the town, and they might go all in on that person. So I gotta be very careful sometimes when I bring people on. You can see right now they're like, oh no, crazy. I'll try.
And Nick, just don't think it's not. Hey, we can't control the gulag, but we can't control the Zoom.
Yeah.
So those guys are, but we show respect to all the guests that we bring on respectfully. We just call the elephant out in the room and we go from there. But everyone's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, we had a good time. We always have a good time.
Yeah.
Carol Baskin. Yeah, I actually emailed Carol Baskin 2 weeks ago to have her as a guest, but
What?
yeah,
For real?
yeah, I got no reply back. It was one of those automated emails I got back. I'm out of the office currently. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try again. Carol Baskin.
You
Yeah.
can't ask it.
But anyway, guys, I'm gonna head off here. It was a great week. Great to have Nick on today. Great to have everyone else on.
Take care.
Cheers, everyone.
Yep.
Buddy.
Take care.
See y'all
Cheers.
later.
Stay safe.
Cheers to
Stay
me,
strong.
guys.
Shukriya, Raja.
Enjoy, fellas. See
Don't
you
drink
Monday.
Don't drink and
Yeah,
drive.
man.
Have fun. Wow, man, this thing is moving.
This is moving.
Shit.
No FOMO, no FOMO.
No FOMO.
Yeah.
No FOMO. All right, so people wondering about the simulation tomorrow in YouTube. Yeah, so it's going to be at like 8 a.m. in the morning. 8 a.m. in the morning, you'll come to YouTube. You can have access to it. So, yeah. All right. See you tomorrow.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.